Yo, what up, guys? We're gonna be watching the patch note rundown on Mortdog's channel. So yeah, we're gonna be watching this, and then we'll play some games. So without further ado, let's just watch, and I'll give you guys my thoughts on what's going on.
Abomination. I think Abomination after the Zerat nerf basically kind of disappeared for the most part. Although I've been kind of enjoying playing it, but Abomination 3 really good if you can high roll it early in like stage 2. No changes to Abomination 3. But if you invest in Abomination 4 or get that spatula for Abomination 5, this should be quite a bit more power.
Yeah, when I get that Nunu from the creep round, I get so excited. It's like, yes, I can play the Abomination 3 opener. But then as it scales more and more, Abomination 4 and 5.
I think it is good to buff Abomination. I wish Abomination would just be a 2-unit synergy. I wish it was a 2-unit synergy, and it was like and it would be really weak. I wish it was a 2-unit synergy that was super weak, but it was like strong enough that it would warrant transitioning into 3 and just make 3 a little bit stronger than it currently is. Or maybe not make 3 stronger, but make 4 a lot stronger, which is what they're doing. They buff 4. I think making 4 a lot stronger is really good, but I think they should just have a 2. It should just be a 2-unit synergy. A 2, 3, 4, and 5 unit synergy, and just make the 2 super weak, but just make it have a synergy and actually do something so that you can warrant actually holding those units early game. You would have to make it really, really, really weak though, because if it was actually strong, it's so oppressive. Like on PBE, when it was a 2-unit synergy, it was pretty oppressive. Whenever you play against it, so. I just wish I would make it a 2 and just make 4 stronger. I don't know if this is enough to make it like super strong. But I mean the scaling on 5 is pretty good. Up 4 AD per star. That's pretty good. But so it's a really big buff, but I don't know. I don't know if A-bomb will be good. I could be proved wrong, but I don't think it'll be good. I think it might be like a sleeper comp, like a sleeper OP comp or sleeper strong comp. But I don't think it'll be mainstream. But I could be totally wrong.
We've seen it fall off a lot. So this is actually like a pretty big buff to both of those levels, specifically on the AD side, just to make the Scion more of a threat, especially if you itemize it. So it would be fun to see how players figure out this puzzle of use it in.
All right, Cavalier. Cavalier 2 is fine, no buffs. Cavalier 3 gets a small buff, and Cavalier 4
I like it.
It's actually a very large
I'm going to be interested in what they have to say about this.
Buff going from 70% damage reduction when it's active to 90% is an insanely big buff. That being said, I think with, having to run Kled and Sejuani and Hecarim, probably still going to be okay, but what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, it's really spooky, the 45%. At first I was like, holy crap, this is might be too much. But then the comp itself is kind of hard to play. The duration is like...
There might be some spicy Hecarim builds with this buff. You make just Hecarim and Rel unkillable. There might be some spicy Draven builds with that. With like with Hecarim, Rel, like Hecarim, Rel, Nautilus. Hecarim, Rel, Nautilus is your front line. Then you have like Rise. You play like Iron Chad, Cavalier, Mystic. So you just make your team like really tanky. Wow, I can already see the tech. I can't wait to try this actually. Oh, I actually can't wait to try a Draven comp with built around Hecarim. Oh, that'll be so fun. Like a roll on 7 comp. Oh, and rolling on 7 is gonna be so good next patch. So man, that's gonna be really fun. And 3 Forgotten's getting unchanged, and 3 Forgotten feels okay. So I'm really excited to see this. I'm not a big Cavalier player. I never pick up Cavalier units ever, like almost ever. Like unless I get a free 2-star Sejuani, that is literally the only time I've ever ran Sejuani. I think Cavaliers are pretty good, and I think I am wrong for underutilizing them. But I'm gonna be really excited to try Cavalier more next patch. I have been feeling the power of Cavalier lately because I've been seeing a lot more people play Cavalier. And I've been playing Set. I've been like one-tricking Set right now for fun because this patch kind of sucks. And Set gets destroyed by Cavalier. He gets annihilated by Cavalier because they get flat damage reduction. And Set, what he does is he shreds their armor. And then he hits them really hard after he shreds their armor. But it doesn't matter that he shreds the Cavalier's armor because they have damage reduction. just flat damage reduction. So I've actually been feeling the power of Cavaliers lately, and I'm really excited to try out a Cavalier Draven. Sorry, my throat's really dry. Cavalier Draven comp. Oh my god. Shit. All right.
Gated, and so I think it just makes the spat better if there's like if you can figure out how to use the spat to its full extent. But for the most part, yeah, it's
I've actually seen a lot more players use Cavalier spat lately. Actually, I had Peebo in my game yesterday, and he played Cavalier spat assassin. I mean, he was like low rolling. I don't know what was going on in his game. He went 8th place, but I saw the tech. So let's watch.
The trait in general is underperforming, and so we want to bring it up.
I think Cavalier 3 and 4 were like the worst traits in the data, though, so it definitely needs it.
Yeah, for sure.
Dragon Slayer.
I'm excited.
We were hoping more people would invest on the 4 side, so we're just going to buff it up a little bit. Hopefully, if you're playing a Mordekaiser carry, it might actually.
I'm excited. I can't wait to see the Yasuo numbers. To see how good Yasuo could be next patch. Because I was trying a 4 D Slayer build for a long time. But I'm starting to think just you can't play 4 D Slayer. I think you can only play 2 and just play 6 Legionnaire because you get so much more DPS off with attack speed. But I'm excited to see the Yasuo buffs and see if there is if he gets AP buffs, like AP scaling buffs, then I'm really down to try this Dragon Slayer build. It's a 60 AP for Yasuo. If you play the build, and then 80 for Mordekaiser. So that would be really, really nice. You play duo carry. So I'm excited to see about that.
Or 4 Dragon Slayer. So buff here. Cool.
Yep.
And then Forgotten is one I think that was coming in kind of hot. This is one that we're filming this on Friday. And as of Friday, what we're seeing is Dravens are doing very well, especially in NA. But also Vaynes are starting to really take off. And you'll see some notes here. So what you're actually seeing here is a Forgotten 6 nerf, because the spike between 3 and 6 Forgotten is a little large, but a Forgotten 9 buff, because right now that jump to 9 does not feel worth it at all. So that's kind of the big change here. Again, with Forgotten 9, you need to be level 9.
Yeah, you have to be level 9, so you almost never get it. So
or have spatulas. So
yo, I'm fine with 9 unit synergies being like crazy overpowered. How often do you even see? How often would you see it in your games? Hardly ever. You would only see it in your games if something like Vayne Fast 9 exists. So like you could see it this patch, but if they knock Vayne and Draven and Forgotten, like this Forgotten nerf actually knocks it down the size, then I'm all for 9 unit synergies being like crazy overpowered. I'm fine with that because it's so hard to get that online. The only time it's not good is in like literally this patch, because you can actually get the 9 unit synergy in. Like you can fast 9 to actually get the 9, because it's just hard to get 9 shitty units in, because usually when you run a synergy like that, you're playing like 3 good units and like 6 shitty units. So I don't mind 9 unit synergies being OP, especially since we don't have Chosen. Last set 9 unit synergies being strong was really, really annoying, but that's because you could get Chosen, you could get online at 8. It's really hard to get to level 9, so I don't mind that.
Pretty steep requirement, but yeah, hopefully this doesn't like do anything crazy like take.
No, it should.
But we'll see.
I'm thinking with the other changes that are coming, I don't think it will take the comp out of the meta. But as far as like,
by the way, this 10 AD and AP nerf is it's actually a lot, because what you're not seeing, you're seeing 10 AP taken off of 6 units, so or AD 10 AP and AD taken off of 6 units. So that's already 60, like if you're playing 6 Forgotten. So it's not just 10, it's 60, you know what I mean? And then also this heavily affects the shadow item synergy with this, because shadow item is percent based. So the lower the base value is, whenever you take, it'll be so much less on the percentage value. So since the base value went down, the 10% effect on it is way less as well. So it's more than 60. It's more than 10. It's actually a lot more that you're not seeing there. So it's actually a pretty hefty nerf. Whenever they nerf a 6 unit synergy like this by 10, it's actually a pretty big nerf.
Forgotten
But
9, hopefully, this.
We'll have to see what happens with the units though, because I don't think that would make Vayne not really strong.
Becomes more of like a,
especially if you played her as reroll.
I actually want to play it, and when I play it, it can actually help me win the game. So I want to make sure that was in there.
It looks like we're just buffing 6 Knight. So.
Oh, I'm down to try 6 Knight. Holy shit, I'm down to try that shit. I almost tried it out the other day.
6 Knight gets a
I'm fucking
buff.
down.
Am I incorrect, or we do 4 Knight also?
We're not doing a 4 Knight buff.
Okay, cool.
4 Knight's
so
strong.
6 Knight
4 Knight's good.
becomes a thing. So, and you have to forgive me there. We changed a lot of things here, so if I lose track of things, that's on me.
Okay, I'm gonna skip around and not like listen to them talk the whole time. Man, Mystic getting a buff at 4, dude. 4 Mystic feels good. Like if you're 1-on-1 or like 1 versus 2 with like 2 AP people left in the lobby, adding a 4th Mystic actually feels so nice. I'll drop like a Rel 2 for a Kindred 1 if like the last people I'm against are like Karma Heimerdinger boards. Like I've had so many lobbies where I'm against a Vel'Koz and a Karma Heimerdinger at the end of the game. And I just sell all my units for Mystics, like literal 1 stars, and it makes my board stronger. So, I mean, you can't sell all your 2 stars for 1 star Mystics, but like I've literally sold a Rel 2 star, which Rel is like the best frontliner in the game. I sold Rel for a Kindred 1 star, and it made my board stronger. So yeah, for anyway, and for everyone going for Mystics, rejoice. Yep, of course. Yeah, but I mean, honestly, you don't ever go for Mystics unless it's the end of the game and there's only Magic people in your lobby. So I don't know why they buffed it, because I guess they have some access to data. But anecdotally, whenever I play the games versus Magic damage people and I add in a 4th Mystic, they literally tickle me, even if they have Magic Shred. So,
but yeah, 6 Knight.
Verdant. I don't think 2 needed to be buffed on Verdant. Okay, so Verdant is a fake trait. Verdant is one of the worst traits in the game. But here's the only way Verdant is good. Verdant is good because it blocks Frozen Heart. It's like really good because it blocks Frozen Heart. So like the 4 second immunity for Frozen Heart is really nice. But like Verdant, I don't think needs a buff at 2 units, because it feels like it makes sure that like your frontline unit will cast before they're CC'd the 4 seconds, and then also it keeps you safe from Frozen Heart. And so, and the reason why I don't think 2 unit synergy needs to be buffed is because it fits naturally in your build. You don't ever think about running Verdant, but like if you're playing Kayle carry, then you're going to play Taric, right? You're already going to play Taric because you want to play Knights with Kayle. Like it's the best stall board. Taric is one of the best stall units in the game. So you already want to play him, so you already get the benefit. And I think just denying Frozen Heart and denying your frontliners from being CC'd is enough value to warrant running it in the comps that it fits natural in. So like if you're running a Aphelios and you haven't Kindred and you're playing like a Knight setup because you're waiting to hit your Darius, so you're playing Taric, and you play Taric Ashe, well, you still like, it feels like you get a lot of value out of Taric Ashe while you're waiting for Kindred Darius, you know what I mean, when it takes there. It's a good point on late game transition though, yeah. Yeah, on the Mystic stuff, especially, yeah, and Verdant. But 8 second immunity, I like that. I like it getting buffed because it actually makes you think about whether or not you want to add Ashe into your board or Kayle into your board. You know what I mean? Because Taric fits there pretty naturally. Taric fits on a lot of boards, especially as like a placeholder for Garen or Darius. Or replacement. He's like a replacement for Nautilus a lot of times. Like you run Nautilus until you have a Taric 2-star. So he fits naturally, but this might actually make you think about late game teching in an Ashe in like a Kayle board, or teching in a Kayle and an Ashe Aphelios board at 9. Because like you look at the other guy, he has a Volibear, he has a Frozen Heart on like a Viego or Diana, and you'll be like, boom, I'll add this to my team. I won't even get knocked up by Diana. I don't get Frozen Hearted. My front line doesn't get CC'd. My back line doesn't get Volibear CC'd. So I really, really, really like the 3 unit synergy buff. I hope it's not OP. I think it's going to be something you add at 9. So it won't, I think it'll be something that's really good in like late game 1v1 matchups and stuff like that. So I really like the buff at 3 unit, at the 3 unit synergy. I don't think 2 unit synergy needs a buff, but you know, it's a nice buff nonetheless, I guess. But I think the 2 unit is fine because you don't ever have to think about playing it. It just happens. You're like, oh shit, I have Verdant. There's so many games where I'm playing, I'm just like, oh shit, I have Verdant now. Whatever. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy relevant.
Okay.
But, you know,
really invest in Mystic. Want to make sure
Is
Kind of skip through this.
is
thoughts on this buff.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to hear what they have to say, but I guess they're talking about Aatrox right now. Aatrox. Oh my god, that's a huge buff. Oh my god. Okay, I want to hear what they have to say.
Making Aatrox is like not performing super well after the change from percentage HP heal to flat HP heal. But Aatrox is kind of meant to be more of like an offensive carry item holder. You can put some AD items on him now. This spell.
Okay, I never gathered that he's supposed to actually deal damage, because the way that I see Aatrox always used is as a super tank for early game. Because you just slap a stone plate on him and you can slap a little bit of damage on him and that's fine. And because it scales with his healing. So I've never seen Aatrox as anything else but a frontliner. He actually deals a lot of damage because he stays alive a long time, but I've never seen him as a DPS. I've always seen like when you play him, you're DPSing like Varus, Syndra, or Callista. So I like that they're adding this AD. I think because they're buffing all of the 3 costs this patch, I think there could be an Aatrox build next patch, because you can get 6 redeemed online really early. You can roll on 6 to hit your Aatrox 3 and hit your 6 redeemed. And then you can also roll it down on 7 to hit like Syndra 3, stuff like that. I think next patch has potential to be a reroll patch, a roll on 7 patch, which I wouldn't mind, honestly. Right now it's a roll on 6 patch because Vayne broke the game. I usually hate roll on 7 patches, but if a lot of the 3 costs are good, I wouldn't mind playing the game on a little bit of a faster clock. And so far the changes they're making is making me think that's what's going to happen. But we have to see the 3 cost changes first.
Spell AD percentage is actually pretty high. So then, if you have a carry Aatrox, he can kill things very effectively.
I wonder what Mort's going to say.
Yeah, hopefully you could actually put like the Draven items on the Aatrox and then transition it and feel not so bad about that.
Okay, this is the last thing I'll say about this. I completely disagree that Aatrox needs to be an AD transition unit, because he has so many carries that share his tags. Because you just put the Draven items on Varus, or you put the Draven items on Callista. I don't think Aatrox's identity will ever be as a DPS. And they're buffing him in ways to make him do that. So maybe his identity is going to shift to that. But I think he already has a good identity as like a tanky frontliner that can also deal some damage if you put items on him. And if he's the last one left alive when he has a redeem scaling, he pops off. I think he already has a good identity and he feels decent to play. So I think it's really strange that they're trying to make him a DPS when he already has DPSs that fit his tags. So I think that's really weird, and I don't agree with their logic at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Intended a 1 cost to be. So we're nerfing her spell at all levels, so she's not quite as tanky as she was before. I still think she's going to be...
Wait, oh my god. That's a huge buff to her base armor. Wow. Yeah, Leona feels like one of the strongest frontliners in the game as a 1 cost. So yeah, I'm down with the nerf. That's a... Wait, that's AD. Wait, she has so much AD. Oh my. Okay, this is kind of a buff to the DPS Leona build. It does make her a little squishier. Oh wait, the 3-star. Oh wait, never mind. This is a big nerf to the reroll Leona build. Never mind, big buff to the reroll Leona build. This is a big nerf. But if you're just running her as a transition unit, she probably feels about the same. You're gonna get slightly less value if you just run her at 2-star as a transition into like Tarek as your primary frontliner, or Darius or Garen, something like that. Yeah. So you only feel the nerf slightly if you're playing her as transition. If you're trying to play Leona carry build, this is actually a huge nerf. I'm down with that being nerfed though. That build feels wrong, but it does look really fun. But it feels kind of wrong. All right.
Best early to mid game tanks for sure.
Okay, Lissandra just getting nerfed. I don't need to hear what they have to say about this. She's getting nerfed to 3-stars, so you're less likely to reroll. But she'll still deal a ton of damage. So if we are in a reroll meta, Lissandra will still be good next patch unless they make changes to renewers. Udyr. I don't think Udyr needs a buff. Udyr feels like an absolute unit as a Jax item holder, but it just feels hard to like play skirmishers because you have to get like 3 costs in or multiple 2 costs. So it feels awkward running him as a carry to try to get your skirmishers in. But if you actually just like playing skirmishers, this is one of the freest transition units ever. You just buy or pick Jax items, put them on Udyr, buy Udyr. Once you find Jax, sell Udyr, put the items on Jax. It's like really easy to play. So I don't think he really needs a buff, but maybe his data, maybe the data he's not performing well at all. But I think people just don't actually play Udyr as like a carry, as a transition unit. I think they just play him as like a draconic bot. So he always does bad. You know what I mean? Okay, one cost changes. We are losing or gaining 5 AD on Vayne. And the spell damage is going down quite a bit. 70 and 100. So quite a bit, and only 10 at 3-star. But remember also Forgotten is getting nerfed by 10, and that also nerfs the percentage, and this losing flat value nerfs the percentage as well. So this is a pretty hefty nerf. This is probably like 30. This is probably like a 20 to 30% damage reduction overall on Vayne at 1 and 2-star. So pretty big nerf. But she does gain 5 AD as compensation. So once you get Forgotten in, she'll have like 90 AD or something. If you have AD items on her, I mean, she'll gain the base, and then if you have shadow items and stuff. So she can feel a little bit better with AD items. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to make her a better transition unit to play Draven or to play Aphelios. So you would be more likely to slam those items. So kind of taking away from her identity, but her identity right now is ruining the game. So I'm fine with this change. So yeah, they're nerfing her as an actual carry, but they're buffing her potential as a transition unit. Because right now it just feels better to play like Callista or Varus as transition than like even a Varus 1 over a Vayne 2-star. If you are stacking AD items, it feels better to just play Varus or whatever. I mean, Vayne feels better because she's absolutely broken on this patch, but before she was discovered to be broken with her specific item setup and with Forgotten, she felt terrible as a transition unit. Like I would never buy her if I was trying to transition to Aphelios or Draven. I'd always play Varus and Callista over her. So and Ziggs for that matter. So I like this, and I like this. And she's only slightly nerfed, so the reroll potential is still there. But I hate reroll build, 1-cost reroll builds anyway, so they could nerf that in the ground. I wouldn't care. Cool. Warwick getting buffed at 3-star. Okay, yeah, that's fine, because 3-star feels like useless on Warwick, so I'm down with that. And they're nerfing Forgotten. Warwick 3-star already feels useless, so I'm down.
We're also nerfing your reward star a little too much.
Okay, they're talking about Brand. Brand OP. I'm down with this getting nerfed. He is OP at 1-star. 2-star, I think he's still slightly overtuned, but it's a big investment to play Brand because by the time you hit Brand, you have potential to hit Karma. So I don't mind this staying the same, even though he feels super, super, super strong. And they're buffing it at 3-star because he's just bad Karma. I don't think he's even worth 3-starring. I could be wrong. I've seen Brand builds pop off. I've seen Brand builds win lobbies, but it just feels like why take the risk of trying to 3-star if I can just play 2-star Karma? And you probably get more value. So yeah. Unless you're just trying to play around Abomination. You already have an Abomination set up. So I guess it'll feel nicer to not have to transition out of this unit to Karma. But I always play Brand as transition to Karma or Vel'Koz or Heimerdinger. Always. Wow, they are buffing Hecarim. Dude, next patch is Hecarim's patch. I'm down to try that 3 Forgotten Cavalier build that I was thinking about. I'm down to try that. With like stall Draven. Like make a stall Draven build with duo carry Hecarim Draven, use slow roll on 7 for the board. I'm so down. Can't wait to try that. Nice buff to Hecarim because they're also nerfing Forgotten. So, but they're not nerfing 3 Forgotten. So I'm down to try Cavalier build next patch. Okay. Cool. They're nerfing Leblanc because Leblanc was already doing fine with just regular blue buff. So adding that mana lockout didn't change a whole lot for her. If you had the suboptimal build, but it changed a lot if you were playing the broken build. So I'm down with them nerfing her even more because she is a 2-cost, and sometimes when you get her online, she feels like a 4-cost. In certain fights, some fights she doesn't do anything, but some fights she feels really good. Trundle getting buffed. I guess this is fine, but Trundle feels pretty good. Trundle is like low-key really strong. Victor, spell damage getting buffed at 3-star. Shielding getting buffed at 3-star. That's fine. I don't think anyone ever 3-stars this. What they're trying to do is they're trying to make an option to go like a reroll Spellweaver build is what I'm seeing. They're buffing this, they're buffing this. Because I think next patch might be a roll on 7 meta. So they're buffing a lot of the opportunities for you to play 2-cost rerolls, 2-cost and 3-cost rerolls. and then they're nerfing the current 2-cost reroll builds that are already out there. The 2-cost and 3-cost builds. They're nerfing the current ones and they're buffing new ones. So I'm down with that. I'm down with that, and I'd like to see where this goes. I like Victor a lot as a champ. I think he does really well at 2-star, actually. So I like that they're only buffing 3-star because it feels useless to 3-star him. But this shield amount is a lot. So we'll see.
For just a single.
Also, I played a 4 Spellweaver game yesterday. You actually get a lot of AP. Because Spellweaver is such a weird trait when you read it. The math is kind of weird on it, but you actually get a lot of AP. I played a 4 Spellweaver with my Draconic build because I had a dark fawn. Anyways, I'm gonna skip this section. I don't need to hear what they have to say about this.
And to open
up that problem.
Okay, Katarina, her base health is getting buffed. Okay, primary spell damage unchanged, buffed at 3-star. Well, why is she getting buffed? Does anyone know why she's getting buffed? Okay, I didn't. Okay, when I read the first part of the buff, gaining 50 HP, I was down with that because like she dies so fast. She dies so fast. If you don't have survivability items on her, she dies so fast. But I was expecting to see a damage nerf at 2-star or 1-star or maybe a mana nerf, one of them. Because yo, if you have a blue buff on a Katarina 1 at the beginning of the game, like you do tier start and you get a cat out of a box or a cat out of an orb. Yo, that like your comp could be anything and nobody can do anything about it on stage. On stage 2, your blue buff cat would just run all over them. As soon as you get assassin buff in, like if you just run Kha'Zix, Katarina, and any random assortment of units, you'll just run over the lobby at 1-star if you have that item set up. So I was down with the HP buff. I thought we were going to see a slight nerf in damage here and here on one of the values, but it just looks like it's just buffed at 3-star. I don't mind it being buffed at 3-star. I don't mind that at all. But I wanted to see a compensation nerf at 2 and 1 because she feels really strong. When I play Katarina, it feels really good. The 3-star does feel a little underwhelming. It feels like it's hard to close out the game. And they're buffing her 3-star, and I don't mind that because they're buffing a lot of the other 3-stars at the same roll down time. So 2 cost and 3 cost. They're buffing a lot of them. So I don't mind that. But she feels strong. So, but I think they're anticipating that like they're going to be buffing everybody, so they need to keep Katarina where she is, and then buff her at the 3-star to make her as worth as the other units. I think they're anticipating all the other 3 costs being played a lot and it to be a 3-cost centric meta. I'm down if that's where we're going because the 3 costs do not feel like units, except for Katarina feels good, so it's weird that she's getting buffed. But maybe these other buffs will tell me why she's getting buffed. Okay, Lee Sin. 50 HP, I'm down. 50, 100. Okay, I'm down. I think Lee Sin feels fine. He doesn't feel like he's like sleeper pretty good. It's just because you don't see him do much because he like Frozen Hearts a team, you know, he like does it. He is adept on his ult. But yo, if you get a 3-star Lee Sin with random items, he actually pops off. I've had Lee Sin pop off so many times for me. So, but I don't mind him getting a nice little buff. But I think he's already in a good spot. But they're probably just buffing him because they're buffing everyone else. Okay, 6 spell targets. I'm down with that. Lulu. Well, I'm down with that. Big jump between 2 and 3. It maybe makes it worth 3-starring her because like you don't waste gold on 3-starring a Lulu. You know what I mean? Like you'd rather 3-star something else. So I don't mind that. 2 spell hex. Ooh, okay. This is a big buff to Draven. Big, like massive buff to Draven. Massive buff to Draven because Draven's auto attack range is 3 hexes. So now without RFC, he will actually stay safe. Because a lot of times it feels like Draven needs 4 items because like you don't want to build RFC sometimes, you know, because it lowers your damage, but like it feels like you need to so he doesn't walk in the CC. So this is a huge buff to Draven. I mean, RFC is still going to be good on Draven because he can avoid like Volibear CC and stuff like that. But like being able to avoid Morgana CC without having to build an item for it, huge buff. Wow, that's a massive buff to Draven. I haven't even looked at this for her though. She's getting a damage buff at 1-star. That's fine. Okay, yeah. All right, Morgana's pretty unchanged if you're gonna play her solo frontline, but if she's just like in the middle of your frontline, she's gonna hit less units. And she's not going to hit Draven as often anymore. So that's really cool. Love the change.
You can...
I got an advertisement. Nice. Okay, I'll let. Okay. All right.
We were seeing her hit backliners.
Just, you know, you're not.
Yeah, you're talking about Morgana.
Your back.
You're the one who did it.
Okay. Free cost champ change. Okay, yeah, Nidalee feels pretty bad ever since they nerfed her on PvE. She was like OP on PvE and they nerfed her, and she definitely needed to be nerfed. So yeah, she can't be buffed in her passive dodge chance, because that was what she had before. And if you buff that anymore, it is so OP, because you can get like 90% dodge chance really easily. And it is just awful to play against. All you do is build dequal on her and the dodge chance, and then you build damage, and nobody can touch her. But that's not how they're buffing her. They're buffing her this way, which I like. They're making her mana lower so that she will turn into her cougar form earlier in the fight. And they're buffing her at 3-star. So she's buffed to all levels from the mana, because she's a little underwhelming, casts a little bit late in the fight if nobody's on top of her. So that's pretty nice. She gets in the action a little bit quicker, make it more warranted to put items on her, because she'll like be in the thick of it a little bit earlier in the fight, make a bigger impact. That's really big buff, actually. 15 mana, big buff. And then they're buffing her at 3-star to put her in line with everyone else, because they're buffing all the other ones. Bug fix, Nocturne Spinning Slash will now correctly heal him based on how much damage he deals, rather than a pre-calculated amount on his stats. He should heal a lot more when itemized. Okay, so it'll heal based off of his total stats after items, rather than his base stats. Oh, it's a bug fix. So I was like, shouldn't it already be like that? Okay, cool. So that's a huge buff to Nocturne. Because I have noticed that he doesn't heal much more when you put more damage on him. He heals about the same amount. Nunu getting buffed, cool. I'm down with that. It buffs my comp that I've been playing. I think that Nunu can be a really good carry in the Brawler Draconic comp that I started playing lately. And so it's really nice to buff him. So nice. Because I have not been really running him as a carry, but sometimes he pops off. So I'm down for him getting buffed. Cool. So this is a really big buff if you want to try to play Chinese Nunu. I think you play Chinese Nunu with Draconic could be pretty good. Spell AD. Okay, just giving Pantheon more damage. I think Pantheon is already sleeper OP. I think it's not being utilized enough. I think Pantheon is a lot like set 4 Jax, not set 4.5, but set 4 Jax, where you can add him as a random frontliner, put him in front of Draven, and like actually just solo win around because you're in front of Draven or their Aphelios. He sits there and block. It happened to me. I played a game where my Draven was stuck on a Pantheon for 15 seconds. Pantheon won because he was just sitting there blocking. And the guy just put a Warmogs on him. So I think he's already sleeper. I don't know if you guys remember, if you played enough of set 4, you could solo win fights if you put Jax in front of Jhin. Or Jax in front of Ashe. You would solo win every single fight that you position that way, because the Jhin would always fourth shot the Jax, and you would only be damaging people with bounces. It was so OP. Cool. I'm down with these. They're buffing all the 3 costs. All the 3 costs suck except for Katarina, so I'm down. And Zyra's good in her build. Okay, Riven. Okay, Riven does fucking nothing. So I'm down with this buff. 3 seconds. Okay, they're lowering the cast time. Nice. Okay. Oh, wow. At 3-star, that's a lot. Maybe there's a Riven build out there. The problem with Riven is Dawnbringer sucks. Dawnbringer is so bad. Dawnbringer Spat would be really good in this board. And you play like Garen and then somebody else. Yo, Omega. Yo, thanks for the resub, man. 5-month streak. Let's go, dude. Nice. Yo, appreciate you. Good to see you, man. Hope to see you working out later. But yo, thanks for the sub, man. Appreciate you. Maybe there'll be a Riven build. I think you can play 4 Dawnbringer if you have Dawnbringer Spat, but there's too many bad Dawnbringer units. That's why Riven sucks. So it's probably just going to be more likely you're going to play Yasuo, because Nightbringer is just way better than Dawnbringer. So we're going to be doing that. Yo, what's up, Norm? I'm doing well. We're over here doing this patch rundown right now. Hope you're doing well too, man. Cool. All right, let's look at the Yasuo buff. So that's a big buff to Riven, but they're buffing everybody. So maybe there's a Riven build, but Riven's traits just suck so bad. Okay, Yasuo. Yo, okay, big buff at 3-star. Okay, Yasuo 2-star already feels super strong. on stage 4. If you get a 2-star Yasuo at stage 4, you have his item setup, which is RFC, Runa, and Jeweled Gauntlet. There's some QSS builds as well that you don't build RFC. He can pop off already at 2-star, but he falls off really hard on stage 5. Even once you 3-star, he doesn't feel as good as like Aphelios 2 with perfect items, you know, even at 3-star. So I'm so down with this big buff, and they're buffing his base values by a lot, so even buffs more that Jeweled Gauntlet build. So huge buff. I'm definitely going to be trying out Yasuo next patch. I'll try out Riven later. I'm definitely more like privy to trying out Yasuo because his traits are so much better than Riven's. But I'd be down to try a Riven build. Occasionally I'll see Riven's pop off, but man, her spell is just so bad. Her traits are so bad for like what her kit does. It's so bad. Yasuo might be able to carry with that buff. Yeah. And they're buffing Dragon Slayer at 4. So there's some alternative builds. I think 6 Legionnaire Yasuo is probably going to be the strongest version from testing that I've done. You just need a lot of attack speed so we can get that damage off. But I'd be very interested to try a 4D Slayer build, especially since they're buffing his base values. Maybe the 4D Slayer and you just play 2 Legionnaire and he just hits like a Mack truck. I'm down to see that go. I'm down to see that. Okay, Zyra's getting a big buff at 3-star. I'm down with that. She already feels good at 3-star. I play her a lot on this patch because I'm just like kind of for funny Draconic on this patch because this patch sucks. She feels pretty good already. They're just buffing her to keep her in line with all the other buffs of all the other champions. Man, I probably won't be playing Draconic next patch though. I'll probably be playing some Legionnaires. I'm down to try some Legionnaires out.
Hard, especially.
Man, I'm excited to play Yasuo. I'm so excited. I'm excited to play the 4D Slayer. I'm excited to play 6 Legionnaire. Maybe I can play duo carry Yasuo Riven. I'm so down. Maybe like Mordekaiser doesn't have to be your duo carry. Okay, they're bug fixing Aphelios. Aphelios is, if you guys didn't know, Aphelios is bugged to where he can't critically strike on his ultimate. So if you're building Infinity Edge, it's bugged. So don't build Infinity Edge. Already don't build Infinity Edge anyways because his base AD is 70. I mean, obviously it goes up when you 2-star, but
the thing is she's not gonna say no. She would never say no because of the implication.
Yo, Axel, thanks for the follow, man. Appreciate you. If you're building Infinity Edge on Aphelios, just stop. Just don't do it. Stop. Even with his bug fix, just stop. It's not that good. His base values are so low. And the way crit works is it doubles your base value. So you don't want to build crit chance on Aphelios. But this is a pretty big buff to if you are building it because it can critically strike now. But just don't build Infinity Edge. Just don't build Infinity Edge. They're nerfing Aphelios. It looks like big nerf. They're buffing the base value at 2-star, but the base value scales off AP. I'm pretty sure. So if you accidentally have a Chalice in your build, it scales a little bit off AP. That's a pretty big nerf to Aphelios. I think it's going to be more of a Draven-centric meta unless we see, on the AD side, it'll be a 3-cost Draven-centric meta. 3-cost and Draven-centric, I mean, rather than Aphelios. But Aphelios is still going to be good because Nightbringer is so good. Nightbringer is so good, but Draven is starting to feel pretty nice. Not going to lie. Even outside of 6 Forgotten, just 2 Legionnaire, 3 Forgotten, Draven already feels pretty nice. So interesting. But Aphelios, I think Aphelios is still better. But I hate how much they're like locking him into. I hate that they buffed his AD value last patch because they're locking him into having to have Deathblade, and I hate it. I actually hate that. But Nightbringer is just so much better than Forgotten. At 3 versus the 4 value. Anyways, let's go Ivern. Ivern AP granted to Daisy on recast is now a flat amount rather than a percentage. Oh, okay, so that's a buff, isn't it? 100 spell AP? Okay. I'm down with that, that's fine. Whatever. And they're buffing the spell damage. I'm down with that. I think Ivern's in a decent spot. They hit him with that big nerf, but he felt like he was kind of doing so much already because he offers so much frontline because he's Ivern and he's Daisy, and Daisy has so much health, so it's basically 2 frontliners in 1. And he was having that 2 hex knockup. Now he has a 1 hex knockup. And he felt like He felt like slightly underwhelming as a unit, but his synergies are just so good. Invoker and Renewer. Revenant is kind of a joke right now. I think Revenant's getting buffed on this patch though. Revenant's kind of a joke right now, but Invoker, Renewer is just such good tags that he felt like strong enough to be a 4 cost. But I don't mind him getting a little bit extra damage on his thing. That's fine. I would much rather see a buff in this direction than see him like revert back to having 2 hex or give Daisy more health and stuff like that. I like they're adding like damage compensation buffs because that's not really what Ivern does, but it just gives him a little bit of extra stuff to offer in a fight. So you might be more likely to slam like a random death cap on him if you get an AP item that you can't really use on one of your carries. You can just slam it on Ivern and it'll make it feel a little bit better. So I don't mind that. Nerfing Mordekaiser mana. Honestly, I think Mordekaiser is in a decent spot. I don't think he really needs any more nerfs. I think after they did the Legionnaire nerf, he was in a decent spot. Because I play a lot of the Draven build. And in the 2 Legionnaire Draven build, where you play Mordekaiser as a frontliner, he just feels fine. Like if you itemize him, he feels fine. So that's a pretty big nerf to the 2 Legionnaire Draven build. So I don't really like that. But they're buffing Dragon Slayer and they're buffing Yasuo. So maybe the 4 Dragon Slayer Yasuo build is just, maybe they're anticipating it'll be OP. And so they just want to make sure you don't have Yasuo running over you and also Mordekaiser. So maybe that's their logic here, but I don't know. Cool. Rel. Stun duration. That's fine. They're nerfing it by half a second. They're not nerfing any of the base values. That's a fine nerf. That's fine with me. Rel feels like the best frontliner in the game. So if she gets a tiny nerf, that's fine with me. I don't think she really needs a big nerf. I think she's supposed to be strong. She doesn't feel as strong as like Sejuani from last set. So she's not that oppressive, but she feels really good. I like that they're not taking any of her numbers down on her shield. I like that this is the way that they're nerfing her because I think the shield is really nice as peel. And I like it. It doesn't feel too OP. Just feels really good. But she does feel like slightly OP, but she's not even in the realm to be as strong as Sejuani was in the past 2 sets. So I don't think she's that oppressive. Hey, Garen. Okay, Garen getting nerfed at 1 star. I don't mind that. Dude, Garen feels so nice to just put in. Like when I play my Draconic build right now, as soon as I hit Garen, I just put him in there. I just put in a random Garen. Because I already have Dawnbringer with Gragas. That's another reason why I keep Gragas instead of Warwick. I can toss in my Garen, he gets Dawnbringer. And that big shield, whenever he casts, feels so nice. I don't mind this nerf at all. I like they're keeping him the same at 2 star. He feels really strong at 2 star. He feels like a legendary. And at 1 star, he also feels like a legendary. So I don't mind this little bit of a nerf. He feels really, really, really good at 1 star. Maybe too good. So I don't mind this. This is fine. Heimerdinger, turret AD going down, mana going up. I don't mind this. Heimerdinger still feels super strong, but I don't mind this as an isolate. Okay, all right. I don't mind this as an isolation tool. Like Heimerdinger does feel a little strong. But the problem is they also nerfed Ivern last patch and they nerfed Volibear into the fucking ground. But maybe they're buffing him. They nerfed him into the ground. So in isolation, I like the nerf, but like overall, I don't, because I think legendaries should be strong. I think you should be building towards legendaries. I love that I think it's gonna be fun to play this 3-cost centric meta, but I think ultimately, when TFT is at its best, it is about, making it. It's about like having multiple stages of the game where you have an early game where you have to play strongest board, a mid game where you have to think about building a new team, new mid game team, or maybe you make a late game board earlier on in the game. I like that there's a defined mid game where you have to upgrade your team to like 3 costs. Like maybe you're playing a Callista carry, you upgrade to a Yasuo now. And I like the defined late game. Like I think every TFT game should end with somebody being level 9 and having a bunch of legendaries in their comp and they win. I think like the game is best balanced and best designed when that's what the end of the game looks like. Where there's a guy at level 9 who's going to win, or there's 2 people battling it out at level 8 or battling it out at level 9, trying to optimize their board with legendaries. I think that's the best way to play, and they just keep nerfing the legendaries. And like in isolation, the nerfs look good, but the more you nerf legendaries, the more it's less of an option to go to late game, because it is a huge risk going to level 9, and you need the payoff of the legendaries being strong. So in isolation, these nerfs look fine, but the more you nerf legendaries, the more it's not worth to actually play the game standard. It makes it way better to roll on 6, makes it way better to roll on 7. and just donkey D key until you just like win mid game. And it makes it to where like mid game and early game are the only important stages of the game, because late game there's only one player getting to the late game board, and they're probably just gonna bleed out because they lost mid game because they didn't roll with all of you guys who are donkeying to 0. So maybe they'll change my mind with some with some different stuff. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but it looks like they're just nerfing every legendary every patch until units don't feel like legendaries anymore. But like in isolation, this looks good. Like, but I don't know about the mana nerf. Like Heimerdinger doesn't even cast. Like, even when I have him fully stacked in an Invoker and Renewer board, sometimes he won't cast in a fight. Like, I don't know. I'm down with the turret AD nerf. Like, I'm 100% down with this because his turret is OP. But I don't know, man. Okay, Wolf spell damage. They're nerfing Wolf. Man. Wolf healing. They're nerfing. Man, dude. Kindred. I think Kindred feels like she's in a good spot. Like sometimes Wolf will randomly deal like 3k damage and it feels nice, but you don't. But it doesn't feel strong enough to itemize. So, man. All right. They're buffing him a 1-star. Wow. Honestly, to me, like a lot of people are scared to play Teemo because he steals your health, obviously, and play him at 1-star. I play Teemo. I will top 4. I will 3rd place games all the time with Teemo 1 as my carry. I mean, you need to run a duo carry with him, so I'm down with it getting buffed because everyone is scared to play it, and I'm not scared to play it, and he already feels kind of good to me.
We'll figure out how to itemize.
But I'm down for him getting buffed.
We challenge.
So
probably what he was just talking about, he was like, oh, there's like 2 players who are itemizing their Kindred and it's overperforming, so that's why they're nerfing it, because it's maybe sleeper OP and they're trying to get ahead of it. Maybe that's what's happening.
That's where a lot of
I do itemize Kindred sometimes with AP, and it does feel pretty good, but it's never felt oppressive. I've put like Death Cap and stuff on her. It's never really felt that oppressive to me. But maybe they know something I don't know. Maybe that's what they were talking about there. I don't know.
Changes. The reality here is, I think for as many items as we launched,
Chalice bonus AP going down. Okay, there must be a data thing. Chalice feels pretty good, so they must have like access to some win rate data that is telling them that this is OP. I have not looked at the data for Chalice. I do look at a lot of data for items. So they must be just be seeing something and it being really strong. I'm fine with that. Chalice and Malice feels like one of the best items in the game because the person you Chalice is usually someone you don't care about their spell damage anyways. Like, you Chalice a Syndra, like, you don't care about Syndra's damage. Like, it's nice when Syndra does some damage, but in Syndra's late game comps, her value is flinging a Viego or flinging a Diana away from your Vel'Koz or your Karma or your Heimerdinger. That is the value, or your Teemo. That is the value that like a champion like that pulls off. So I'm down with him nerfing this because these feel really strong. Dragon's Claw magic resist go up. Yeah, no one builds Declaw. Everyone, you just build Bramble because all of the AP will build Spell Crit rather than the Death Cap because it is more damage overall. So I'm down with them buffing this because no one builds Declaw. Just build Bramble to counter AP champs, and you counter the AD champs. Bramble, this is the eternal struggle that Declaw always has. Is that Bramble is just a better defensive item for the same thing because people always build Spell Crit. No longer affects the wearer. Okay, this is a huge buff to Rel. Actually, Rel is the best user of this item because you put Rel away from your team. So this is actually a big buff on Rel. So this is cool. But it will still affect your team. So because this item feels like one of the worst items in the game. You never want to build it. And the only unit you want to put it on is Rel, but you want Rel to ult as quick as possible in the fight, and so it just feels bad. Max HP self burn is down. This is a big buff to brawlers if you're putting this on your Warwick, or putting this on. It's a big buff to assassins if you're putting this on your Diana. Yeah, because this item feels kind of like trash unless you're playing brawlers, but no one plays brawlers unless you're playing the set build. So this is a big buff to the set build, but I probably will not be playing set next patch.
Up in a pretty good state.
I'll probably be playing. I would probably be testing a lot of Yasuo and testing
to bring up that
putting it on
Cavaliers with Draven carry. So I'll probably be testing a lot of that. Okay, what do we have here? Item changes. Evil Giant Slayer renamed to Spectral Giant Slayer. Okay. You get no... Wait, whoa. You get no damage penalty. Huh? Okay, this item is sleeper OP. I'm calling it now. This item is sleeper OP. if you build this late game, it is so strong. But the problem with this item is you can't build it early game. So it's just hard to get into your build because just kind of way it works out. Like by the time you get your Aphelios or your Draven, you kind of already have all 3 of their items. And it did not include Evil Giant Slayer. But games that I have built this, games that I have gotten it on my carry, I mean, you just melt. Like Aphelios with this, whenever he ults and he hits the, he will literally one-shot the entire front line. It feels really good already. I'm surprised they're buffing it. Wow, they're nerfing Frozen Heart and they're buffing Verdant. Wow, Frozen Heart's going to be so much worse next patch. Wow, because Verdant got buffed. This got nerfed. Frozen Heart is what's made Verdant useful. It is the only thing that's made Verdant useful. I'm down with it getting nerfed. It feels like a really strong item. But it's like, I'm down with it getting nerfed, but at the same time, like this item has been like one of the worst items in the game for all of TFT, and now it's finally good. And it seems like there's counters to it. You play Verdant, you play Syndra. So I kind of don't like it. I think this item needed a nerf for sure, but maybe not all the way down to 35%. Maybe a nerf down to 40%. But I don't know. I thought this item was like a little strong and maybe could take like a 5% nerf, but maybe it's just like my brain from like this item being the worst item in the game forever. And now it's finally good. Maybe my brain is just tricking me into like thinking about it fondly, even though it's like terrible to play against, but I don't know. It feels really good, but it feels counterable. You just play Syndra or you play Verdant, and it's really easy to play Verdant, and they're buffing Verdant. I feel like this is what makes Verdant okay, is Frozen Heart. Kind of weird. It's kind of like a nerf to Verdant, too, in a weird way, because it makes it less useful. But as I said, you don't play 2 Verdant to play 2 Verdant. You play 2 Verdant because, you know, you by accident, you know, you're just playing Taric and Ashe with your Aphelios, or you know, you're playing Taric with Kayle. So you don't really play it on purpose usually. Except for against this situation. I did actually use my brain sometimes and be like, all right, I'm going to play Taric here in my Ranger build to block Diana Frozen Heart, because I'm not going to be able to play Syndra. Okay, Guardian Fallen Angel. Nerfed. I'm down with that. It seems pretty strong. It seems like this is like one of the best frontline items. I build this item all the time. Yeah, it's really OP. Ionic Dark Spark. Oh man, this item is so OP on set. Okay, Ionic Dark Spark. 50% ally damage, 10% bonus AP per cast. I don't think this item needs to be buffed at all. I think it's really good on assassins, because you just put it on your Diana in an Aphelios build or something. She jumps to the backline. She just stacks AP. Dude, when you're versus Karma, it's so funny. The Diana just stacks AP and then she ults and then one-shots the entire backline because she has a billion AP because Karma is casting constantly. I didn't think you ever felt the ally damage, but I don't mind them buffing it because I think nobody builds this item, but I think it's actually sleeper. I think it's pretty good. I still wouldn't build this item on purpose, but it's sleeper good already. Trust. Okay. Man, they're doing a lot of item changes. Okay, Locket of the Silver Luminari. They're buffing it. Nice. No one builds this item. It's really good in the set build that I currently play. Because what brawlers lack is resist. I think this build is I think this item is sleeper okay. It suffers from the same problem that Cursed Giant Slayer suffers from, is that you never want to build it because you can't build it early game. Because if you build it early game, you actually need your units to cast. You actually need your frontliners to build up mana by auto attacking because there's less people hitting them. They're taking less damage, and fights are really early game are a lot more about who casts first, or who gets the better like ult off. So it suffers from the same problem that Giant Slayer does, that you can't build it early game. So therefore, it's hard to build. It's hard to build in your build at all because the value is only in late game, and the value isn't that massive. But I think this item is sleeper good, but it's just really hard to build. It's really good in brawler build if you play brawlers though. Really good in brawlers. Okay, Sacrificial Gauntlet, reworked effect. The gainer gains 40% critical strike damage. Magic and true damage from their ability can critically strike. The first time the holder casts their ability each combat, they gain an additional 20% crit chance for the remainder of combat. Okay, so you get the bonus. Okay, I don't mind that. You get the bonus on your second cast, so like Vel'Koz after his second cast. The Karma, this makes no difference because she casts instantly. This bonus is also applied to the first ability cast. Okay, well, never mind. Each time the holder casts their ability, they deal 15% of their maximum health to themselves as true damage. That hasn't changed at all. They just changed it. So that's the same already. Okay, that's fine. Whatever. Maybe they're like coding it in a way where it affects Vayne, but whatever. It doesn't matter. Like Vayne is not going to be an oppressive build next patch, but I don't know how this affects Vayne. Maybe they say, but either way, Vayne's not going to be an oppressive build, so it's really nothing important to even think about. Sacrificial Redemption, 20% of missing HP heal. It deals less damage to the user. Okay, this item is sleeper OP. If you build the regular Redemption and this item on a stall board, if you're trying to play like stall Karma or stall Kale, building this on Taric or like an Ivern or something is building this item with the regular Redemption is hilarious. It's so good. Also, stacking this item on Thresh is really good early because he'll cast twice in a fight. He'll cast at the very beginning of a fight, pull the carry into the front line, and then he'll cast again, pulling whoever else is back there. So this is actually a really decent item to stack on to Taric and transition to, or stack on Thresh and then transition the items to Taric later in the game. Is actually pretty good. They're nerfing the heal because it is sleeper OP. I promise, it is sleeper. But they're buffing the amount of damage you take, so that's nice. I like that. Cool. Titan's Resolve. Okay, there's a huge buff to Titan's Resolve because it is the worst item in the game, man. This is a huge buff. So this is a 33% buff, so that's a really big buff because it is terrible. I built it yesterday on my Set build, and Set has to be like the best user. He has crit, he has ton of HP, he has healing in my build that I do, and it felt like trash. It felt so bad. And he seems like probably the best user. Oh, I didn't look at this. Taking the damage penalty down, I don't think this item needs to be buffed. In the data, I think it's probably underperforming, but I don't think this item needs to be buffed. You can even build this on Vel'Koz, and it feels fine with the damage reduction because your Vel'Koz would just ult way more often. I think this item is going to be one of the best AP items now. For like, especially if you're going to play Zyra, this item is going to be really OP. If you're going to play, Teemo or Heimerdinger or Vel'Koz, this item is going to be really good next patch. You'll actually think about saving items to play this over a regular Sojourn. Because I think it's already good at the 20%, but now the 15% is going to make it feel really nice. Okay, let's skip ahead. Yo, so far I kind of dig the idea of what they're going for this patch. Some of the balance changes I don't agree with, but I'm cool. I'm cool with the idea of having this 3-cost centric meta. I'm down to just have something fresh. I hope it doesn't stay like that for a long time because they keep nerfing every legendary. I hope they get back to moving the game to like a fast 8, fast 9 meta. Or I don't really like fast 9 meta, but I like it whenever like we have a steady like roll at 7, like, you know, you have to roll at 7, but the goal is always to get to level 8 and level 9. But it feels like the balance changes they're making now, it feels like the goal is to get to level 7, get your board established, upgrade your board, and then we only level up to 8 once we have our board upgrades. It feels like or in your building around mid game comps, and just like instead of transitioning to late game comps, you're just furthering upgrading mid game comps in the late game. I don't mind that. Like, it's something fresh to play around, but I hope the game next patch or 2 patches from now starts to move more into the direction of making the goal to get late game comps and not building mid game comps and just making your mid game comps stronger, or early game comps and making early game comps stronger, because that seems like the direction we're moving in. Okay, sacrificial armor, minus 40 HP loss per second. Okay, maybe you might think about building this item because this item is trash. This item is so bad. Maybe this is also why they're nerfing Mordekaiser a bit, because if you play Gunblade Mordekaiser and then play Sacrificial Warmogs, you can get so much value off the item. So maybe next patch might be OP build in the Yasuo build that I'm going to try. Might be you build Sacrificial Armor and Gunblade on your Mordekaiser, and he can function as a second carry with just those items, maybe QSS with him. Because he's going to get so much value because he's getting less HP loss. He's going to be healing a lot off of his Legionnaire procs and stuff like that too. So, and his Gunblade. So maybe this will be like a premier item on Mordekaiser next patch, and maybe that's why they're nerfing Mordekaiser even more, because they're anticipating this. Okay, they're nerfing Dark Zeeks. Dark Zeeks feels like one of the best items of the game. You guys, obviously, if you've been playing the patch, you know how it functions on Vayne right now, and even Draven and Aphelios to a certain degree, but mainly Vayne, and then Draven to a slightly less degree. But Draven feels really good with this item. So wait, they're buffing it. Wait, oh, this is a buff. They're nerfing the reduction for your ally. Oh, I don't think this item needs to be buffed. I think this item feels really good. But maybe they're doing this because Vayne's not going to be a build next patch, but I don't know. This item felt pretty good. If you built it on Draven, like you never built, it's one of those items you don't build on purpose, like except for on the Vayne build. But like if you end up building this on Draven, especially, oh dude, this item's going to be the replacement for RFC on Draven, because now you don't need RFC as much because Morgana is less likely to hit you with her ult now, because that's one of Draven's biggest problems, especially versus the Aphelios matchups. He walks in and gets CC by Morgana, but they're nerfing Morgana's Hex range to keep Draven from getting attacked, as long as Draven stays at his maximum attack range, which he usually should, unless he gets thresh hooked. So this might be the premier like third item on Draven. So that might be cool. That might be cool to see. So okay, I'm down to see that, but I think this item is pretty strong already. But I think they're giving it a buff because they're nerfing Vayne into the ground. Okay, ZZ Rot Portal. Void spawn that arise from summoned units are 25% effective. Wait, hold on. What? Void spawns that arise from summoned units. Okay, I need to hear what they're saying about this.
Being secret OP, especially on like Darius back when his spell wasn't autos, because 1800 health is a lot of health. 60, maybe it won't be as scary. So I think this item's going to turn out to be very popular this patch.
Zeeks?
Yeah, I think players are starting to discover that, like, you know, Ginsu's is the premier.
Yo, what up, X-Man?
Like,
SO9, what's up, bro?
And so you need to actually have a front line and a team to build.
Over here watching, we're doing a patch note.
But if you have a fast
patch notes rundown
comp that wants to end fights fast, Zeke's
that we removed A-bomb spawning.
Okay, this is what I want to hear them talk about. Is just the A-bomb.
Zyra portals, because it was frankly the right thing to do with the time we had. But we couldn't make any better changes without text. Well, now we have text. So here's what we're doing. You can put Zyra on A-bomb again. It will spawn.
Okay.
But they're going to be much less effective. So Zyra portals are only 25% as effective, meaning, you know, they're much...
Okay, so I got what I needed from that. I am down to try the Rot Portal build. I think the Rot Portal on A-bomb Draconic will be good again. Maybe not as impressive as it was on PvE. I'm down to try that build again, but it is low on my list of builds to try, because Brawlers actually don't feel that bad in Draconic build, and you could play... Oh, I mean, and they're buffing Zyra. I'm down to try the full stall Zyra carry Draconic build. I'm down to try it next patch. And if you get like a Fawn, you can actually play 4 Brawler, because they're buffing Nunu and stuff like that too. And Nunu fits in this build, obviously, because you need to play Abominations. I'm down to try the A-bomb Draconic build next patch with like Zyra with set side carry, and then obviously our Rot portals on our A-bombs. I'm down to try it next patch. It'll be cool. And then Unstable Rot is 50% as effective on the A-bomb. So this is just nerfing if you like want to cheese early game, because this is
smaller, much
less. This is an early game item anyways. All right, bug fixes. Spell crits from Jewel Gauntlet and Assassin will continue to work even if the caster dies. Nice. Oh, okay, so if their spell is like going through as they die, or if they have like a summoned unit or something. Okay, I'm down. Dawnbringers will now properly die to large instances of damage, even if their healing has yet to trigger. Oh, okay, so they can get one shot. So before it would prevent them from getting one shot. That was a bug. Okay, cool. The same thing used to happen on Nightbringer on Same thing used to happen on Nightbringer on PvE. It was bugged to where like you were, if like Aphelios like was isolated by a Kha'Zix 3, he would never die to the ult if his Nightbringer hasn't triggered. So that same thing was happening in Dawnbringer. That's funny. Okay, Lux will no longer fail to cast her spell if her target ally is too far away. Didn't know that was a bug. Cool. Nice buff to Lux. Allies will no longer chase targets when Syndra is tossing. God bless. Dude, God bless. This has ruined so many fights. Dude, Syndra feels so OP. But sometimes I won't even want to run her because I'm just scarred by every time my Karma walks into the middle of the fight and just starts trying to ult the person that Syndra tossed, and now she's literally like, it's like she got thresh hooked, but it's just because Syndra tried to save my guy. And then my dumb idiot carry will walk into the middle of the fight, so I don't mind that. Revenant, oh, they're not buffing Revenant. Oh. Revive visuals are now properly removed once the revive effect has been triggered. This is super annoying. This doesn't actually change your fights at all, but It's super annoying watching your fights. Sometimes I can't remember if my Ivern has a revive because he still has the GA thing around him. So it's hard to tell. Rel spell now triggers Trap Claw. Oh, really? Oh, okay, because it didn't deal damage. Oh, wow. Okay, cool. Nice. Buff to Trap Claw. I like Trap Claw. Monstrosity no longer gains 100 bonus health at all trait levels. Oh, it was just bugged. Okay. But they're buffing him now. So, okay. Heimerdinger turret now fires correctly in ghost armies. Oh, it just didn't before. Okay, interesting. Units will now more responsibly recognize that Wolf has moved when he leaps to lamb to healer rather than waiting for a second to leap to recognize his new position. Oh, I guess Wolf, whenever Wolf jumps back like Yuumi, it would cause units to kind of like stall out and stand there. Okay, staff drop damage skin now better syncs between staff impact and damage armors. Yeah, because whenever staff drops, you take the damage like 10 seconds later and it feels so bad. Okay, fix a bug where stacking multiple ionic sparks only granted the AP from one ionic spark. Wow, that's that's crazy that was a bug. Okay, cool, good fix. Verdant no longer blocks the damage from Thresh's ability. It was blocking the damage? Wow, OP. Okay, Viego will no longer attempt to cast on his target if his target goes into GA or Revenant. Okay, so just a bug fix on him. If you guys can't tell, I have to pee. I'm doing the no pants dance over here, but I just want to make sure I get through all this. All right, looks like that's the end. That's all of it. All right, guys. Yo, thanks for looking at the patch rundown with me. I'll probably upload this as a video to YouTube later today. So be looking out for that if you missed part of the thing on stream. But thank you guys who are here for the YouTube video. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.